Most people believe that psychic mediums are born with these special gifts and even magical powers. I've even heard these notions that it has to be passed down from your bloodline, from your ancestors, and if it's not in your bloodline or family tree, then unfortunately you can't speak to the dead. These are only some of the dangerous ideologies that are here on planet Earth. And I hear you say dangerous? Well, let's get into that. These very notions imply that only certain individuals can communicate with the spirit world. And this, my friends, is completely incorrect. What if I told you that mediumship isn't a gift after all, and it's not a power, it's not something that gets passed down to you, it's actually something more primitive. It's something that is wired into the DNA of each and every human being on this planet. Each and every one of you have humanistic abilities and capabilities with your extrasensory perceptions also to be able to communicate effectively and efficiently with the afterlife. In this video, I'm going to explain to you the truth behind mediumship and why some people do exceptionally well in it and some people don't do very well at all. Not to mention we'll be obliterating some of those nonsensical notions of mankind that have polluted and corrupted the mind of the living with some understandings for you to be able to see what could actually be holding you back in your mediumship development. Remember to stick around to the end of this video because one of the points that I mentioned could be what is suppressing you and preventing you from being able to connect to your loved ones in spirit. And also at the end, we're going to prove to each and every one of you that you have the abilities to become a medium by showing you a little bit of an exercise. But don't be sneaking to the end now because you will have to have the understandings for it to take place. If you're new to the channel, my name is Psychic Medium Jordan Cockburn and I can prove with evidence, my friends, of the afterlife. I've helped thousands of people already on this earth plane to once again be able to reach out and contact their loved ones in spirit from the understandings and the teachings, and now it's your turn. Each and every one of you can become great mediums, and here at Help Heal Serve, we can give you the very foundations to forge your own unique understanding. Not to mention we have the loving and supporting Help Heal Serve family. I'd like to say a big massive thank you to every one of you channel members. I can't believe it. Don't forget, at the end of this video, you are going to see a shout out to each and every one of you. We've got credits and you'll see all of your names. 110 members, man. What's going on? That's insane. I didn't even think we'd get one. Thank you to every one of you who smash that subscribe button, who follow the content. Each and every one of you who smash that like button. We notice it. It's amazing to see that people actually like this content. And thank you to every one of you who drop comments into the comment section because it does help to propel and push the message of Help Heal Serve far and wide across this earth plane. Also, if you are that 87% of people who watch the content and aren't subscribed, what's going on? Smash that subscribe button now. Make sure the notification bell is on so you don't miss out on any future content. This is here to help each and every one of you to be able to succeed in mediumship. And my friends, we do so at your leisure. Let's come straight into it. Right. First of all, mediumship isn't magic. It isn't special. And hold on, don't click off the video just yet, right? Because it is special in a specific way, but we shouldn't be looking at it for our alter ego, thinking that it's something that only specific people can do. Whilst it's special, what we have to understand coming into it, right, is the more up there on a pedestal we put it, the more we push it away, because the more we think we aren't capable of doing it, the more magical it becomes, the more spirit. And the problem is right, this is why you found this channel. I break everything down. I make things that have become complicated and I reverse engineer it to make it simple. And obviously I work alongside of the spirit world in doing that. And that's why a lot of the practices and a lot of the things that each and every one of you will just pick up and do, you can't explain it, but it just works. It's not because I'm special. It's not because I'm magical. It's because mediumship is designed by default into each and every human being. You all have these capabilities deep buried within you, but unfortunately mankind's logic, mankind's different notions that have polluted this earth plane will saturate your own understanding of how this is going to work. rather than just going with our intuition, rather than going with our trust and our connection to the spirit world, what we do is we start to listen to fear-based notions. We let of our practitioners who, unfortunately, in most cases, if they know what to do, and they become egotistical with it, because it's the common misconception that mankind have that anointed people can only do this. Therefore, right, because the general consensus among everyone on this planet is there are specially appointed individuals who have these gifts and have these powers. When practitioners start performing and executing mediumship, whether they're being good at it or whether they're being bad, let's come away from that. But in a normal collective mindset, when they start giving readings, they become so high up on this pedestal. And then it pushes you away from being able to do that, because they then see an opportunity to see that there's profit margins, to see that there's a dependency system, which we are going to obliterate on this planet, by the way. But there's a need for mediums. There's a need for it. And therefore, it's a continuous cash cow system. People need emotional support. And listen, it's not just about mediumship, right? Don't think that that's a bad thing, what I'm saying. What you've got to realize is there are many different practitioners on this planet who don't do mediumship, but to do things along the lines of that in terms of inner child healing. You've got like Reiki, you've got all of these different practices, right? So it's not just mediumship. However, what we've got to remember is we need to stay away from any spiritual jargon. We need to keep it basic and simple to the point. Mediumship is designed by default for each and every one of you watching this video, and smash that like button if you are wanting to place the intent to be able to communicate with the afterlife, because they do watch, by the way. If you understand the basis that energy is all around us, likes of myself and many of our mediums, not just me, can tap into that energy at any given moment, any given time, using our Clair senses. These aren't gifts, these aren't powers, these aren't from gods themselves. These are literally because we are a human being and we have brought our awareness to a specific sense to use it in a moment to gain and ascertain information from the spirit world via evidence to give to a loved one. I know a lot of you are thinking, well, hang on, Jordan, like, I get what you're saying there, right? And some of it might make sense, but what do you mean the spirit world or energy? I've heard they're in heaven. I've heard the spirit world are in hell. What about trapped souls? What about lingering souls? What about these spirits that can't find the way to the light, right? We've got full videos on this, but let us give you a little bit of a crash course in it, yeah, right? Energy is omnipresent, like the air that we breathe. An abundance of scientific equipment can prove of the energy realm's existence. With that being said, there aren't spirits trapped. There aren't spirits that are wandering. There is literally a band of energy. Let's just come over to a little example for you, right? If you think of an onion, the core of the onion being the spirit world, this is the energy that encompasses planet Earth, a bit like the ozone layer, right? If you think of spirit are telling us to think of this spirit world contained within the ozone layer of planet Earth. Technically, it's not, but it's a good way for you to look at it. Within that energy, mankind can tap into it at any point. And a lot of you might think, well, hang on, that's a bit crazy, but let us just reverse this for you. If I said to you that you could pick up a mobile device, if we went back hundreds and hundreds of years, right? And I said, guess what? You're going to be able to pick up a mobile device. You're going to be able to ring someone from the United Kingdom, and you're going to speak to somebody in Hong Kong or China or Japan or any of these different locations within milliseconds. You will have a two-way communication. People would be like, well, how are you going to do that? Carrier pigeon? How are you going to get that sequence of vibrations to another person for them to be able to understand it and perceive it in energy? Well, we have mobile phones in this day and age. Each and every one of you are fully aware how your mobile phone works. But can any one of you see the radio waves that are transmitted from these devices? No. We trust their work because we can see evidence of them doing what they should. You can't see the radio waves. And when you think of it, right, you are like a mobile phone. And now I know you're thinking, oh my God, I've clicked on a right lunatic. Yeah, haven't I? But let's just think of the concept of a mobile phone for this analogy. A mobile phone is going to send out its signal and it's going to receive information. no different to you. When you are a medium, you are sending out your thought of intent, you are gaining information from the spirit world, and that is initiating a two-way communication to take place, very much like a phone. And what I would say to every one of you, if I was to go and use this phone to ring my friend, let's talk about intent for a second. If I was to use this phone to call my friend using intent, what I would do is my intent in this moment wouldn't just to pick up the phone and speak. It would be to initiate the phone call. That is placing your intent. I'm going to type in my friend's number and I'm going to press call. Well, this is no different again to mediumship. When we are placing our intent, it's about knowing where our intent's going. I've done videos on this because for psychics and for mediums, because a lot of people believe that a psychic is a medium and a medium is a psychic. I'm sorry, whilst you use the same clear senses, there's a complete disconnect in where you are getting your information from. That's why you see a lot of people who are performing and executing mediumship readings, but they're called reading the living. And it's not their fault. Like, I'm not sticking up for these people, but a lot of the time they've fallen into a category of thinking they're a medium because that's the stereotypical teachings of mankind. If you are gaining information from something and you are speaking it, then you must be a medium. No, you are psychically working, my friend. Again, coming back to the clear senses and where we are getting that information from. Every one of you, you've just seen that analogy there about energy being there. When we are receiving information from the spirit world and it comes to us packaged from that energy, a band that's encompassed within the ozone layer of planet Earth, when that information comes to us, let's go for a little example of how it's going to come to you. It's going to come down in what we call the soul. Each and every one of you have a soul, by the way. It resides within the stomach area of all living beings. That energy is going to come down to you and it's going to go whoosh into your auric field. Should probably come into this now, shouldn't we? Every human being has what's called an auric field. It's a low frequency energy that radiates from the beating heart. Every one of you have one. People like myself, psychics, mediums, can see your auric colour and we can tell you about the mindset that you're in. We can tell you if you're in a happy mood, a bad mood, all of these different things. But this little ball of energy, the soul is going to come down and it's going to go whoosh, and it's effectively going to merge with your auric field. Then, through like a spiderweb tentacles, spirit laughing at that one. I know, well, it was a bit funny. Tentacles, what's going to happen is your extrasensory perceptions and your Clair abilities are going to effectively absorb that little ball of energy, and then they're going to start filtering it to whatever Clair sense is going to be predominantly stronger for yourself. May be clairvoyance, you may see spirits, clairaudience, where you audibly hear the spirit world. You may even be clair empathy, where you are going to just feel. There's many different clair senses, and without giving you a crash course in clair senses, we've got full videos on that, right? But that's how you are going to receive that information. Those are designed in each and every human being. You see what I'm saying? It's not about powers. It's not about special gifts. It's not about has it been passed down from generation to generation from a family of specially appointed spiritual people. It's not. All it's about is where your awareness is. The understandings that we have on this planet, right, they don't tailor to you being unique. They don't tailor to you being able to communicate with the spirit world. There are so many misunderstandings which are going to completely not just not allow you to be able to communicate with spirit. It's going to not allow you to become yourself. We have to fit in. You have to be like the rest of mankind. Stop that. You are special. And that's not me being nice. That's not me being like one of these nice people. It's me telling you what you should be. You should always be yourself. You should always be raw, authentic, and unique. And that's what each and every one of you are. And that's why you found this channel, because we're going to help you to see that. The problem is with mankind's understandings, when they get involved, it's not about that. It's about you following the footsteps of somebody before you. It's about looking up to the elders. It's about looking up to all these people. Stop looking up to people in mediumship, right? You yourself have to realize that you are the master of your own destiny. It's not about looking at what other people have done before you. It's about you setting new standards. Because I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you're coming into mediumship and you want to become a medium, the standards within this industry are not just low, they're diabolical. In fact, they're laughable. And that's what really angers me, because there is no quality control. Quality control has stepped away, and scammery and rife among mankind is come into play. And everyone now is claiming to be a medium. Everyone's claiming to be a psychic. And the problem is with that, right? It doesn't take very long for somebody like myself to see through it. And I say that, and I don't want you to think that's like an ego flex. I don't want you to think that's me massaging my ego. But when you understand the fundamental basics of what mediumship should be, clarity, direction, and purpose, and then you see what's being practiced and executed on social media, Tickety Talk, you've got FaceB, you've got Instagram, you've got all these different platforms, and you see these people spouting out and they're giving these little things, and honestly, it's sickening, because these people have no shame. That's why you don't want to follow in their footsteps. I know a lot of you might be like, oh my God, did he just say that we shouldn't be looking at our ancestors and following them? No, you shouldn't. Look at where we are in the year 2025. To any one of you who think I am wrong, we are in the year 2026. Sorry, Spirit have just shouted. Sorry, I'm forgetting what year I'm in. We're in the year 2026, right? And let's be honest about it. Why is it that you can't connect? It's not because you haven't got the abilities. It's because every medium before you has prevented you. They haven't given you the understandings. They haven't wanted what is best for you. Why? Because there is a lucrative cash cow system that's been put on this planet where only special appointed people can be able to communicate with spirit. Let's keep it all behind paywalls. Let's keep it all out of the praying eyes of the vulnerable, the weak, the people who want to actually communicate with their loved ones. Let's keep it away from them. Why should we give it to them? We'll charge them to come to us. That stops here, and that stops with this channel. We are going to obliterate that. But every one of you need to realise why I don't look up to people, why I don't go, wow, that person was amazing as spiritual, because it's these people who've allowed this to happen. It's these people who've single-handedly brought this understanding to the planet. And I don't agree with it. And I know a lot of you might hate it because I don't follow the general consensus and I don't follow the theories of mankind that we should be thanking people before. I couldn't care less, because there's not one of them who've told you that you could do it. There's not one of them who've give you the tools to be able to do this for yourself. That's why I don't thank any of them. And a lot of you in years and years to come, you will thank me. And I don't want that to sound like big-headed, or I don't want that to sound like I want a thank. I don't need that. But what you'll find is right, the truth has been in front of your very eyes for the entirety of your life. It's just taken me and the spirit world to be able to pull the rug from underneath the feet of mankind with their theories and ideologies and give it to you in a different way, packaged so that you understand it, so that you can tackle mediumship and you can start connecting for yourself. We're not throwing money at a problem. The new understanding is going to be, I will do this for myself. And that's why you found this channel, and that's why you are going to become a great medium, because you have that understanding at the forefront of your mind. You want to become a good medium, or you wouldn't be up to this part of the video. You want to do what is right for mankind. But unfortunately, by doing what is right for mankind, we have to start stepping away from some of the notions that have been put in there that don't serve us. We have to cut it free. Clair senses are designed by default into each and every one of you. It's down to my job and the spirit world's job to help you to bring your awareness to those Clair senses to be able to gain information in a moment. Again, remember, just because you can't see energy, it doesn't mean it's not there. Coming back to the mobile phone, we can't see the radio waves, but yet you'll pick up your phone and it's just so natural. We'll pick up a phone and we'll ring someone. We don't see those vibrations or words being transmitted to that person, but we're having a communication. Start thinking of that like the spirit world, because it's effectively exactly the same. Let's come over to the next point. Why is it that in mediumship, some people progress faster than others? In this, for a lot at the time, right, this is going to seem very unfair. Because you want to be able to communicate with your loved one, and you might say that Nancy down at the spiritualist church already connected to the loved one, and you feel that you're being penalised, you're being punished, and it just doesn't matter how hard you try, it's not working in that respect for you. Some people, like, take myself for an example, right? I've literally seen the spirit world from the age of 6. Why have I seen spirit? this was always in my path. For a lot of you, right, you'll want to become mediums and you won't understand your path. For me, I didn't. I mean, I do now. But why did I see spirit from a young age? Because I've seen, using clairvoyance, the spirit world all my life. I would be no good to the spirit world if they didn't come to me for the entirety of my life. Because could you imagine me doing this now if I hadn't already seen them? I'd be like, not a chance in hell. I've seen entertainment. For the entirety of my adult life, I've watched Paranormal Activity, The Conjuring, Annabelle, Robert the Doll, all of these scary depictions of the spirit world through entertainment being the key word in this part of the story. So you could imagine, right, how scary it would be for me to come into this without seeing the spirit world. For me, it was imperative at the very beginning of my life to openly know that the spirit world were there and to really not have much fear associated to it. A lot of you might look at my experience and go, well, that's so unfair. Why were you selected? Why were you chosen? Remember, it's not that I was chosen, nor was I selected. My path was leading to this. My path, I had to be part of the spirit world. Now, you could argue and say, well, is that because your path isn't? No, what you've got to realise is each and every one of us are unique in what we bring to the table. And at very different times of our life, we're going to step up to the plate and we are going to work alongside of the spirit world. Therefore, for yourself, it doesn't need to be from the beginning of your journey. It didn't have to be halfway into your journey. The time is now. The spirit world are going to come to you. They're going to start working with you. Always remember, right? I know sometimes it feels unfair. It also feels frustrating because you see other people getting information and you're not getting it. Do not, under any circumstances, compare yourself to another human being on this planet. Especially when it comes into mediumship, my friend. Because when you start doing that, that's when you yourself are going to start to destroy your chances and abilities of communicating. Because it's not easy. It's still, even with a good understanding, it's still difficult in some cases. When you build the connection, then it becomes simple. It's just like, remember the phone analogy, picking up a phone and making a phone call. It's that simple. But at the beginning stages, it's not going to be like that. But by you comparing yourself to other people, for example, to my story, if you want to compare yourself to my story, and then it would single-handedly start destroying your chances of connecting, because you're going to look at your own journey and go, well, hang on a minute, the spirit world don't even like me. The spirit world don't come to me. The spirit world haven't revealed themselves to me. Why isn't it? They obviously don't want to work with me. They obviously hate me for a person. I've obviously done something wrong. And that's not the case. You are comparing yourself to somebody else's story. You have a unique story to tell, and you have unique skill sets to bring to mankind in terms of helping them to globally heal. That's what we should be focusing on. Your specific traversal of this journey. Not mine, not the next person's, not Sarah's, not Frank's, not Dave's, not Mike's. Your personal journey. A lot of the time when it comes into mediumship, right, the reason why some people learn a lot quicker than others is it's in the path, but you've also got their expectations. A lot of people come into this and their expectations have been put so high, like up there. Then you have some people who come into it who like really don't know what to expect, and they just really appreciate every moment with spirit. And I'm not saying you don't appreciate spirit. I'm not saying you don't appreciate your time with spirit. But what I'm saying is your expectations in some cases are going to be up here. For example, how many of you go into a meditation, you're like, I would like the spirit world to show me this, and I want to see this. Right. You've just destroyed that connection from taking place in the first instance because you are telling the spirit world how you would like it to work. Whilst that comes with building trust, you've got to remember, if you are going into a meditation or any sort of spirit work and you are telling and demanding the spirit world to bring information to you in a specific way, unfortunately, right, that's not going to work. Because when the spirit world start bringing you information and it's slightly different, you aren't going to accept it. Again, this is in the beginning stages of mediumship. Once you're fully developed and once you've authenticated your connection and you know when you are connected to the spirit world and you know that you can speak with evidence, then you can go into these sorts of meditations and you can go and you can say, look, listen, ladies, guys, this is what I want to say now. Can you show us it? And they will. But that comes with trust. A lot of people start this at the beginning and think, well, hang on a minute, I've heard that this person does it. I'm just going to go into a meditation and I'm just going to force the process. I'm going to just sit there, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to ask them to show us a gold car. And I want this gold car to have my spirit guide looking at me wearing the sunglasses, and I also want baby Jesus or any other God to be sitting next to them in the back seats as proof and evidence I am a medium. No, that was a little bit far out there, but I can guarantee there's even more crazier stories than that. And then people wonder why they aren't connecting. People wonder why it feels like they are dropping into a darkened abyss of mental anguish, turmoil, because they aren't seeing the results that they want. We are being unreasonable with our expectations. In that example there, we were setting our expectations up here. What we should be doing is going into a meditation or any sort of spirit work and going, I'm here, just show us whatever you need to see. That person there is going to supersede the person in point A by 1,000 miles. And I'll tell you the reason why. They have no expectations for it. They are just welcoming. Have you ever heard? Be ready to receive. Well, this is being ready to receive. Trust in your connection that you've forged with spirit and just being ready to accept whatever they send. This is why a lot of people believe that they can't do mediumship. I've had loads of comments, right? I'll get some people that'll be like, oh, Jordan, I've binge watched a couple of videos over the last couple of days and just don't get it. Why am I not a medium? I don't get what I am doing wrong. That attitude there is what you were doing wrong in the first instance. There is not one person on this planet who can force mediumship to work. You can't force a flower to blossom. You can't force mediumship to work. It's about taking your time. It's about... And I know a lot of you don't want time. A lot of you don't want me to sit here and say, look, it takes time, right? Because that's a biggest cop-out, isn't it? Because you've been conditioned to believe that it takes overnight. You've been conditioned to believe if you go and pay this £30 for a course, you're going to be a medium. But them are the sorts of people who've caused this problem, because them are the ones who can't do mediumship and they're telling you they're going to make you a medium and they can't prove with evidence. It's frustrating. I get it. Because a lot of the time when we find mediumship, it's because we've lost a loved one. It's because we want to connect to a loved one. Sorry, everyone, I've got an itchy nose. We want to connect to a loved one and we want that instant connection. If our loved one is in spirit, why won't they come to me, Jordan? Why aren't they here now? Why won't they come and answer my call? The problem is to every one of you who have that is a mindset. They are answering your call. They're not the problem in this. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. You are the problem. And we can fix that problem by giving you a good understanding. The spirit world don't hear you. The spirit world don't not want to work with you. They are sending you signals. They are trying to communicate with you each and every moment of every day. They do hear you when you say their name. They do hear you when you talk to them. You are the problem in this. You are the one who is closed off by the understandings and ideologies that you've absorbed by mankind. The spirit world are always trying to get you information. Some people, you're going to, from that example there, you're going to see, right? We've got two different types of people. Some people, it might just be in the path and they might just, it might be imperative for the spirit world to educate them in a specific way. That's not because they're better than you. They might be, for example, take myself. I'm a spokesperson for the spirit world and the realms, and I discriminate no energy because I don't follow mankind's notions. I don't need to. A lot of people are like, well, why don't you protect? You have to protect from poor understandings of bad teachings. If you protect from them, then guess what? It supersedes the notion of protection. You don't have to protect from the spirit world. And I know a lot of you will find this video and be like, oh my God, what does it mean there? He doesn't protect. No, I'll not follow any of them humanistic rituals, because the problem is right, when you realize that you've welcomed those sorts of ideologies into your mindset, you've done that through fear-based notions. You've done that because you are scared of an outcome. How do you think that's going to work with mediumship? It's going to prevent you from connecting in most cases, because you're like, I want to connect to the spirit world. I want to connect to the spirit world. Oh, but I'm scared of the spirit world. I'm scared of the spirit world. Let's just cleanse me room. I've got a negative attachment on us. I've got this. I've got that. I've got this. I've got that. Do not follow the hype entertainment is set up. And to any one of you who think I'm wrong in saying I'm a spirit world don't attach, they don't. They can't attach. They're already here. And before anyone gets scared and like, oh, that means that, yes, they are already here. Why would the spirit world attach to one person? They don't need to. They're already with that person. They're already with each and every one of you. It's crazy, right? Because I get loads of, and I know my theories, the way I work spirit is very, very different to what mankind have seen. But when you think about it rationally, and you think about it through a not fear-based notion, then you can see the corruption on this planet. You can see how mankind have done everything in their little power to not just exploit the living. They've done every extreme to make money out of you. You want to cleanse? Okay, let's pay for that. You want a chakra alignment, even though it's nonsensical? Let's come and pay for that. You want a grand awakening? Let's come and pay for that. You want us to come and cleanse your house? Yeah, you can pay for that. You want a sage? You want to cleanse your room? Do you want to come and pay for that? None of it's free. However, what is free is you don't need to protect from the spirit world or the realms. You have to protect from poor understandings of bad teachers. And to those of you who are new to the channel, when I say I work with all energy and I don't discriminate, I effectively bring and recruit mankind to specific parts of energy. So, for example, some people who want to work with spirit, I will take you by the hand, give you your understandings, and help you to work alongside the spirit world. You want to work with the realms, what most mankind calls demons, because of the horrible, yucky name tags that mankind push out when they don't understand something fully. They just give something a horrible name to incite fear. You want to work with the realms, that's what I call them, they're my family. I'll give you your understandings to go and work with them. It's very, very simple. It's very, very true. We don't need to have any of the fear-based notions that mankind have put out, because this is ultimately, right? Fear is what's going to sever the connection from the spirit world taking place, because in the first instance we're scared of connecting. There's something there stopping us. Crazy. It's really crazy. Let's come over to the next point. Well, this one's going to offend a lot of people, especially a lot of people who make money from the living. What's one of the biggest lies in mediumship? My friends, this has to be the lie of you have to go to somebody else to get information. Now, a lot of you who found this channel, right, you'll see from a lot of my content, I'm very stern on the fact that I will educate the populace into being able to do mediumship for themselves and knowing that's the way it should have always been. The biggest mankind rumour, germ, virus that's been spread on this planet is the fact that the mindset that you have to go to somebody else to gain information. One could argue and say, well, if you can't be bothered to learn it, then it's quicker to do that. That's the wrong attitude to have. Because when you go to pay somebody and that causes a dependency within you, you're never going to get the information that you seek. You're always going to be searching for more. You're always going to be longing for more. You're always going to be needing more clarification. Therefore, you've just entered, unbeknownst to you, into the cash cow system that mankind has on this planet through that very ideology alone. If we realise that in the first instance, each and every one of us have the tools to communicate, and we should do and we should exercise that ability each and every second of every moment of every day by going to the spirit world direct, guess what happens then? Not only do we break that vicious cycle, that money-making pyramid scheme, what else does it do? It generates an authentic connection where you know and you understand your loved one is with you with each and every second of every day, because you can communicate. Yes, I get it. A lot of you will be like, well, actually, hang on a minute, Jordan. I just don't have the time to commit. Sorry, everyone. Sometimes the energy gets really intense when I'm talking about specific topics. I know you might believe you don't have the time to commit, but I'm going to stop you there. If you want something from this life, you have to work hard to get it. You can take it, but it only comes with time, effort, and commitment. any one of you who think you don't have time to become a medium and you just want to go and pay someone else, it's that attitude that's going to stop you from becoming a medium. It's that attitude that's going to prevent you from ever having a true, authentic connection to the spirit world. Because all we're doing is right, we're just thinking, well, we don't have the time for it. If you've got time to go and pay for a reading, you've got time to go and sit in your own company for 30 minutes for the spirit world to come and give you advice. Because that's literally all it takes. Is I'm going to see at the end of this video when we do like a little exercise, we're going to show you a little routine that you can do over a 7-day period where you can gain information from the spirit world to prove that you're all a medium. That being said, we don't want the mindset of going to somebody else. It's one of the biggest lies on this planet. Mankind love it when each and every one of you gets suckered into this ideology that you have to go to a trained professional, you have to go to somebody who, and listen, I fully agree that, like, if you want an information, it's going to seem better to you getting it from someone who can prove with evidence of the afterlife. I fully get where your mindset would be with that. The point that I have is it's not about getting that information from that person. It's about you building an authentic connection for yourself and getting it for free anytime, any moment, any day of the week that you like. We do have people who claim to be professionals in this industry. Believe it or not, right? We've got mainstream schools who've reached out to us and asked us to stop doing some of the practice that we do on this channel. Like, seriously, I'm not just saying this out loud. I've got full email proof of the school asking because it's affecting their profit revenue for some of the things like I've spoken about, like saying that Reiki's a complete myth, because it is. Any one of you who follow Reiki, right, and you follow mankind's ideologies, you do not need Reiki at all to understand energy. You can understand energy in your own company with a good understanding. You don't need to go and learn. And by the way, the chakra system that mankind depict, it's completely incorrect. The chakra system cannot get blocked. Energy does not get blocked. And even if it did, mankind are human beings. You can't remove energy blocks. You can through the power of suggestion. If you tell somebody there's a blockage and then you go, oogity boogity hocus pocus, they have removed your blockage, can I have some money now? They're going to believe that. And listen, at the end of the day, people can argue with us as much as they like. I can prove what I prove. When it comes to some of the topics that I raise, and businesses are asking me to stop speaking about it because it's affecting their profit margins, and these are big mainstream schools that are teaching it, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, who it's for? Is it for the person to help them to succeed in life? Or is it because the industries like to make money? Well, if you thought it was the first one, you'd be completely wrong. It's because the industries, that's what it's there for. It's a cash cow system, no different to going to professional mediumship. That there is designed by default for your natural abilities in the first instance, because of the fear that's associated to connecting to the spirit world and believing that you aren't good enough, because there's professionals and people who are practicing and being given gifts. All these buzzwords are there to imply that you can't do this because you haven't got the time or you haven't committed the time into it. It's going to make you step away from it. Just be very careful with what you choose to accept, because what you choose to accept is what you welcome into your world. And unfortunately, on this planet, right, there's things that will work for you and are designed to work for you. And there are also ideologies that are there to control the masses, to be able to control people, to narrate certain narratives and to get people to follow certain practices, to be able to be exploited. And I know a lot of you think, well, actually, Jordan, this is like a spiritual community. This is mediumship. This is, listen, forget all of that at home. Because this playground, my friend, can be very extremely toxic when it wants to be. I've literally experienced it for myself. And don't be under any illusion thinking that these people who are toxic and all of these different things work alongside of the spirit world. Because unfortunately, what actually happens is you have a few individuals who realize what mediumship is. They realize that some cases they can give evidence, which is good. Some people don't give evidence. And these sorts of people are normally the ones who fall into this toxic lane because they're not very good at mediumship. What they want to do is to want to cause entertainment. They've realized that because they're not very good at mediumship, what we'll do is we'll create a toxic culture. And instead of people wanting me to do mediumship, I'll be more like the class clown. And people will just talk to us anyway. I don't need to prove with evidence. I don't need to do anything other than just kind of create narratives and spin this horrible level of deceit. Those sorts of people are noticed, and I know a lot of you will be like, well, why did the spirit world let them get away with it? Mankind have the right to free will. They will literally do whatever they want. And if you have somebody who's the class clown, or you have somebody who is completely self-indulged within their own delusions, they're going to just continue that until they're stopped. We will stop it. We will. And this isn't like a nasty thing. This isn't a toxic thing. But we will bring around an understanding that's universal for everyone. So when you look at these people, you can make an informed decision about whether you want to follow the practices, whether you want to be part of that culture. Because you've got to remember, right, we do this to help people to be able to become the greatest versions of themselves. By doing that, what we've got to do is ensure that each and every person has the tools to be able to do this. By slipping into them slippery slopes, are we helping mankind? Or are we helping ourselves through entertainment? Well, I think we're helping ourselves there, aren't we? And this is about being selfless, not selfish. Let's come over to the next point. This is going to be one that a lot of you are going to ask, right? What does mediumship actually feel like, and how could you know? Let's go through some of the telltale signs. How many of you, right, have been walking the dog and you've thought you've heard a voice? There's no one else outside. There's no one with you at all that could have actually caused this noise. But you've used clairaudience in those moments and you've audibly heard somebody speaking to you. In that scenario, it's quite creepy. It's quite scary. A lot of you will just put it down, right, to being just a creepy coincidence. How many of you have seen a shadow? Now, don't worry, by the way, to every one of you, right, who wonder what's the difference between a black shadow and a white shadow, absolutely nothing. It just depends on the way that the spirit world, you've actually perceived that energy in those moments, down to different light reflections, down to environmental factors. It's not because the black spirits are evil or demons. It's got nothing. A lot of people have this delusion that a white spirit is a pure energy. It's a happy spirit. It's a nice spirit. A black shadow is going to be an evil spirit, a trapped soul, a wandering spirit. It really doesn't matter. It's just the way that you've perceived the energy in those moments. It's got literally no difference. Again, right, a lot of you like find it really difficult to understand some of me understandings, but when we think of the spirit world, we have to stop likening it to the world that we live in. There's a reason why it's the spirit world. It doesn't conform to our mindset. It doesn't conform to the way we live. The way that we live, we have good and we have bad. We have people who are going to make horrible decisions. We're going to have people who make good decisions. We have the right to free will. You have all of the different parallels. You have all of the different ways that if there's something that's going to happen, there's going to be always a counter reaction to it, isn't it? And then immediately, in the first instance, we start looking at the spirit world and we're like, oh, well, that's how that must work. We're so used to how this planet works, then it's got to be like that in the spirit world. The problem is it's simply not. That's not the way that it works at all. When we come into seeing like a glimpse into the spirit world, depending on how your clairvoyance actually is cultivated, you might just see like a black shadow. Might be creepy in the first instance. You might see a white shadow. You might even, if you've seen that for a couple of times and you've built up that kind of a connection to it and you're not really scared of it that much, you might start to see it taking a bit of a form. When I say a form, this is where the spirit world will effectively start to cloak an image to show you. You might see a full-bodied apparition. You might see a half-bodied apparition. Either way, it's going to look like a human being. Maybe it's just the silhouette, though. You might not see any of the distinguishing features of the human, like the colour of the eyes, the skin, the complexion, any damages to the human form. They might have any breakages in the arms. Like if you, for example, right, if you are seeing a spirit who's been involved in an RTA accident, then you might actually see them, like a lot of people don't realise this, you're going to see the spirits, how they are passed in most cases, Why? Because they're not coming to have a catch up with you. They're not coming to have a chit chat with you. How are you doing, Joan? It's a case of, look, this is how I died. Quickly tell my loved one in the quickest way that you can so they know that I'm with them in this moment. So you might see a spirit and they might be stood there holding the arm. They might have like a gashed wound to the face. They might have all. Honestly, it can be quite like a lot of people think it's a fluffy, duffy game. Like seriously, like you're seeing dead people on a daily basis. Sometimes it can get a little bit creepy for people. This so would be when you start seeing things like that to that level, right? The spirit world would know that you're ready for it. They wouldn't scare you. It's effectively taking baby steps. What would be the point of them letting you know that they're wanting to work with you in those moments, and then terrifying the living daylights out of you, and you not wanting to work with them again? They wouldn't do that. It holds no point. There's no logic to that whatsoever. If your clairvoyant abilities is refined, then that's how you're going to see the spirit world. In most cases, or coming into this, you're just going to see white shadows, black shadows. You're going to see like little bits of black darting from left to right. Let me know down in the comment section if you've ever experienced this. It'll be really interesting to know. But this is the early stages of your clairvoyance starting to cultivate. What I would recommend is when you do see something, then let the spirit know, or let the spirit world in those moments know that you're seeing them, you're not scared, and ask them to show themselves again at some point. That there's going to be using Clairaudience, and that's going to be using obviously the ability of clairvoyance. But what else does it feel like in a mediumship reading? Those are some of the telltale signs of mediumship, and there's many more. Like seriously, we've got signs from spirit, which we're going to be doing a full video on. We've got how many of you have been walking through your house and all of a sudden you've smelled a loved one. They're no longer with you in the physical, but all of a sudden you've just smelled their perfume. One could argue and say, well, actually, hang on a minute, you're imagining it, you're wanting that to happen. Maybe you're reaccounting the moment where the what, like, yes, we could all have these logical debates. We could all have this logical way of thinking. The problem is right, when we automatically shut off the idea of being spirit, this is when we start pushing spirit away. In the most part, if it's happening, reoccurring, we can categorically, in most cases, say that this is some form of paranormal activity. This is the spirit world trying to get you signs, and it should be welcomed. We should be receiving that information, and we should be doing something with it. Another, like, see, a lot of you will use claircognizance. This is the ability of all known. A lot of you will use this in the first instance, right? And it's something that you'll just naturally put to one side, push off. Very much like the other senses. The other senses are a little bit more like, I would say clair empathy as well. This is where you're just gonna know feeling. You're going to be able to effectively wear something, wear like an emotional energy. But what I would say is like, claircognizance is probably going to be the most refined in each and every one of you. And this is going to be when you just knew something was going to happen. When you went to pick up your phone and text your friend to see if they're all right, and the text come through from your phone, from your friend, before you even got to send that message. Have you ever finished somebody else's conversation? This happened to me when I was my good friend, evidential medium Caroline Tyndall. When me and her first met, this was like a reoccurring theme that happened when me and her were speaking, because it was like kind of a calling card from the spirit world to say, look, you're working really well together. Like, this is something. And I always remember there was like loads of conversations we had where we would finish each other's conversations, and it was the first time I had ever encountered it for the entirety of my life. And I know it's like a crazy thing, because you'd be like, a lot of you might have it happening all the time. Well, that's another telltale sign. But to me, this was the first time it had ever happened, and it was with another medium, and we were literally finishing each other's sentences and stuff like that. This here is using the ability of claircognizance. We just knew in those moments. How many of you have just known that there was going to be an issue? You can't put your finger on it. You don't fully understand it. You don't know how you know what you know. But you just know there's going to be an issue. Later on in the day, hey ho, guess what happens? Well, there's a massive issue. You could have went weeks with no problems. All of a sudden, you knew something told you that there was going to be an issue this day. Guess what? That light switch comes on and you're like, how did I know about this? How many of you write it off? How many of you just write off the entire situation just being something weird, something crazy, something unexplained? This, my friends, is because you're starting to use your Clair abilities. You are starting to tap into the spirit world. Either intuitively you are receiving information, or you are actually getting guidance from your spirit guides, your spirit teams, your loved ones in the afterlife. They're giving you information. They're telling you to prepare for specific things. Don't get it twisted. They're not there to wipe your backside. The spirit world will never be there to wipe people's backsides, but they do give you little friendly nudges from time to time. Mediumship actual readings, it's going to be very different depending on, I say to every one of you, right, who come into mediumship, you have to learn to be a chameleon. And when I say that, a lot of people are like, what a weird terminology. Do you imply that you have to be one person in mediumship to your real life? No, you can't be. The person that you are in your everyday life mirrors into mediumship. You can't. There are people who try to be like nice in mediumship and then they're horrible in their everyday life. The problem is it doesn't go well for them. People see straight through. Mankind are pretty clever at seeing through things when they've got a good understanding. And when it comes to like picking up on energy, it's intuitive. Every person psychically operates. And that's why you get a lot of mediums who are psychically reading people, but they're doing it in a mediumship capacity and they get it wrong all the time. And a lot of them look like they're scamming, but it's not that they're scamming, it's just they're a little bit lost in their understanding. They don't really fully understand where they should be getting any information from. It should be spirit, not psychically working. Yeah, I mean, it's mediumship readings, right? It's going to be different for every person how mediumship readings will actually work. But the chameleon concept is something that I come up with when I was trying to give an explanation to someone of how you need to be able to adapt to a situation. I'm the same person on camera. Well, I'm technically not, because when I'm on camera, I'm channeling. So the spirit world, it'll slow my speech, they'll tell us what to say, etc., etc. I would like to think that I'm still the same. I'm still approachable off camera. I'm still, you wouldn't look at me and go, oh, that's a completely different person on camera. Whilst you might go, oh, you talk different, or you talk a lot faster in real life, because this is how I'd normally talk in real life. However, when I'm working alongside of the spirit world, that makes no sense to me to be able to speak, because I don't want to fit in with the rest of mankind and give you information that you can't process. We need to be able to slow things down so each and every one of you can make informed decisions about your mediumship and how you want to go forward. But the chameleon notion come from the basis that you do have to adapt in a mediumship reading. You can't just be, for example, if you were just a one person, I call it a one-trick pony. And I know that sounds horrible, right? But if you're a one-trick pony and you go into a mediumship reading and you've got somebody who's coming to a reading from you and you don't adapt and you have to adapt, then they're not going to understand or retain that information. What do I mean by this? A lot of you might be, let's just go, for example, a stereotypical reading with, I'll use one of my friends, like a burly, well-built doorman, somebody who has fights for fun, who does all of these different things. They're involved within a very active, hostile environment every day. When that person comes to you for a reading, it's your duty and responsibility of a medium to be able to give the information to that person in a way that they're going to understand it, a way that they're going to be able to take that information and do what they need with it to better themselves in their world and also get the clarity direction that they seek to go forward in their life. That's your responsibility as the medium. I know it's not the general consensus among mankind, but I'm telling you, that's what we should be aiming for. Do you think when they come into the room, if you are like such a lovey-dovey spiritual thing and you're like, oh, love and light and all of these different things, and never say love and light on this channel, because the word and ideology, the concept of love and light, I despise. And I'll tell you the reason why. You should not be conformant saying these words. Each and every one of you are better than that. Mankind say it to fit in with one another. Mankind say it because they need to be the love and the light. They need to stop it. Be yourself. Don't be no love and don't be no light. Be unique. That you don't need to follow mankind's terminologies and fit in with the rest of them because mankind want to stereotype you into being this category. We are breaking free of that mold. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you all know. But if you're that person, you're like, oh, I've got fluffy, duffy clouds, and oh, come and sit down, me dear. And this is me creepy female voice, I suppose. Come and sit down, me dear. Oh, yes. And you've got some big bloke sitting there like, oh. And she's like, oh, I'm going to see what the unicorns and what the rainbows, oh, I can see it. So that person at that point is going to go, what the hell is this? This is a laughing stock. I'm walking out. In believers, when I say this, it happens. This person who had the opportunity to be able to speak on behalf of the spirit world has now lost that opportunity because they've lost the confidence of the person who come for the reading. It's very important. Therefore, that person walks out and is like, that is an absolute joke. Give me my money back. However, let's just go into role reversal. The medium sees that he's coming in. And then she says, that was a normal way, and then she'll change like a chameleon. She'll adapt to the situation, the person in front of her. She'll go, okay, come in and sit down, dear. I've got some information that you really need to know. She'll take a more defensive, a more aggressive stance to make sure that this person is going to be locked in and listening. Now, whilst, yes, we shouldn't stereotype because not just saying big blokes who work in hostile environments are always going to be defensive, but you as a person have to work psychically to be able to work that out. And then, once you gauge that person's energy, I'm not saying this is for giving the mediumship reading, but when you come into contact with a person, you have to pick up on their energy psychically. Then you've got to go, right, what do I need to be here? It's no good me being the same person for every reading. You can't do that. Well, people do that, and that's why they look absolutely hilarious. In most cases, they look silly. And that's because they don't understand the concept of being a chameleon. You have to adapt to every situation to be able to give that information, that clarity, direction to the purpose so they understand it. Let's go to another example. If you are somebody who is extremely loud, you are extremely loud. You're like, hello, me lovely, and oh, I've got such an amazing news for you. And all that there can be off-putting to most people. Let's be completely honest about that, right? Because if I went in for a reading and I had this person throwing their hands up in the air and they were like, oh, I've got this in there. At that point, right, I'd be like, I'm walking out. This isn't about you. This isn't meant to be about everyone look at you in this moment. It's about to be my moment. It's like, could you imagine a wedding? Spirit are saying, could you imagine a wedding where the bride has spent weeks and weeks of planning for this beautiful day, and then the cameraman on the day turning up going, I'm going to get amazing pictures, everyone, just as you're seeing your vows, making loads of noise, taking the limelight off the bride. They would be furious. Well, this is the same instance with the medium in this scenario. The medium is just a conduit to the message. They're literally just giving that information over to a loved one. Therefore, we need to realize if we are very outgoing, for some people, this is going to be good. For some people, it's going to work. However, if we have instances where we have somebody coming in and they are very shy, they're very timid, they don't like loud noises, they don't like that sort of, we have to pick up from their energy immediately what sort of person we need to be. Again, this doesn't mean to say, for example, you're going to be a horrible person when you're not doing readings and then a lovely person in readings. Don't get it twisted. Remember, who you are in this life mirrors into your mediumship. That's why we spend so long on self-development, perfecting ourselves to the best that we can to become the greatest medium we can be. That's why a lot of you who find the How to Become a Psychic Medium series, you'll see within that very series alone, we spent the first 3 to 4 videos working on you, getting rid of all of the flaws that you may have, trying to come to terms with it and accepting things so we can move forward with clarity and conviction. Mediumship readings are going to change for each and every one of you, depending on, like, some of you might be more susceptible to using your different Clair abilities. But one of the things that's always going to be the same across the board is you have to place your intent. Your intent must be that you want to work alongside of the spirit world in those moments. And then you all have to trust the information that comes through next from the spirit world to be able to then articulate it over to a loved one. That is always going to be the same, but the results are going to be different for every one of you. It's no good me sitting here saying, well, for you, this is what's going to happen. It's no good, because there's thousands of people going to see this video, and each and every one of you have to know that you are all unique. You have to embrace it. You have to wear this with a badge of honor. Mediumship should be your passion, your not just a hobby, right? It should be everything about you. It's not just a choice, it's a lifestyle. It's something that is not just going to just define you as a person. It's going to help you to become the greatest version of yourself that you could have ever been. Not just that, it's going to help you become the greatest medium on this planet. And when I say that, don't get ego in the way now. And remember, to every one of you who want to be like me, you don't want to be like me. You want to be better. I'm educating each and every one of you to be better than me. Be better than the next medium. Don't get egotistical with that, mind. Remember, this is something that everyone can do. We understand that because it's a humanistic ability. But by wanting to be better, we are going to strive for perfection. When we are striving for perfection, we are not becoming complacent. When we are not becoming complacent, we are going to continue to pursue our dreams of becoming the greatest medium. And you should all want to be great mediums, because you can. It's well within each and every one of you. Let's come over to the training exercise that I think a lot of you are going to find very interesting, because it's not just going to prove that you are mediums, it's going to help you to understand your mediumistic abilities. For this exercise, what we're going to be doing is effectively stilling your mind. I'm going to give you a method of placing your intent, and I want you to do this exercise over the next 7 days, and I want you to document everything that happens during it. I want you to document any signs that you see, any connections that you feel, any sensations, any imagery, everything. In these moments, when you are doing this exercise, document it all for the next 7 days, and do it religious over the next 7 days. If you can't find, it's not going to be a long exercise, and you don't have to watch this video every day to do it. Literally just listen to what I say now and then repeat it. Or you can just do it every day if you wanted to. Just literally find this part of the video, it will be timestamped, and just go over it for the next 7. I need you though to commit into this. If you're wanting to see if you're a medium, if you're wanting to see if you have the potential, I can work with you now with this spirit world to help this to work for you. But for this to be able to be beneficial, you need to understand that this is now on you. I can give you the tools. The spirit world can work with you. But if you can't commit the time, then it's going to become an issue. This isn't going to be a 30-minute meditation. This isn't going to be a 40-minute meditation. My friends, this is going to be 20 seconds meditation. And I know a lot of you are like, whoa, I've never heard of that before. I need you to start understanding that this comes quick. It's not about spending hours and hours in a meditation. It's about building an instant connection with the spirit world through the power of your intent and noting everything down. If you can't find 20 seconds a day for you to be able to do this, then I'm sorry, mediumship's not for you. Like, really. And I know you might hate me for saying that, but if you can't find time for yourself, then there's nothing I can do. I've got to be realistic with that. You might be able to find somebody else who will spin you a web, but I'm sorry, if you can't find 20 seconds a day for the next 7 days, then there's something seriously wrong with the way that you are looking at mediumship. Because normally it would be 30 minutes of meditation, or it would be at least, I would say, or I would argue and say that you need to do at least 2 meditations a week in the initial stages of your mediumship development. But that aside, come away from that, working on this exercise, this is going to prove to each and every one of you that you have the capabilities and the skill sets already within you to be able to work alongside the spirit world and building and forging a unique connection that you can gain and ascertain information in a moment. What we're going to need for this is I need you to have some paper ready. This is going to be used at the end of the exercise to document everything down. You're going to need a pen, obviously, to write on the paper. You could even use a computer. You could use a mobile phone. You could use anything along those lines. We aren't going to be using music. It's not going to be that sort of a meditation. I'm going to just be talking you through what you need to do. What we do need to do, though, is to find a quiet location. Whilst it's not a meditation like what you would normally see, it's a quick firing exercise. I do need you, though, to be in your own company where you aren't going to be disturbed, where you have no visual or audible distractions that are going to take you away from these 20 seconds that I need you locked in for. And also, I need you to put aside any doubt that you have. I need you to trust it. I need you to trust the spirit world. I need you to trust that you found this video for the right reasons. You are it as part of the video because you are ready to learn and you want to feel what an authentic connection to the spirit world actually feels like. I need you to believe that. I need you to ask yourself now the question, why is it that you want to become a medium? There is no right or wrong answer. But by knowing the reason why you are wanting to become a medium, we can fall back to this. If you are wanting to connect to your loved one, great. We can help you with that. If you are just wanting to do it for the gigs, just to see what happens, great. We can help you with that. If you are doing it because you want to help mankind, great. We can help you with doing that. If you are wanting to do this because you like the idea of being a career, great. Then we can help you with that. We can help you with all of these, but you need to ask yourself now the question before we even begin with this, why are you doing this? Because that is going to be the catalyst for when it starts to get difficult, when it starts to feel like you can't do it. I need you to remember the reason why you are doing it and to believe in yourself, to know that you have found us for a reason. We can help you to connect. We can help you to gain the insights from the spirit world. But we need to remember why we are doing it. And we also need to understand that it is us, meaning you, who is going to make or break this. You have to commit the time into, I would say, right, to try and like do this in repetition. For example, like if you know that it's 6 o'clock every night or 7 o'clock every night or 8 o'clock every night, you're going to have a little bit of spare time, 20 seconds a time. It's 20 seconds like the meditation that we're going to do. But I mean, obviously, you've still got to build up to it. So whilst it's a 20-second, like kind of quick firing exercise, it's probably going to take you around about a minute to methodically take your breaths and get into the actual full exercise. So you need to find probably about a minute and a half. I try to do it as quick as I could. A minute and a half. You just need to find a minute and a half. Pick a day, pick a time, whenever works for you. We're going to go into a dark room, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through the meditation now. So if you want to find yourself into a dark room, the reason why I say it dark is it's going to eliminate what I said earlier, the light pollution, any sort of disturbances within the light. It's not because I'm creepy, and it's not because there's spirits going to take your souls and start to do it. It's nothing for that reason, right? It's literally to minimize any potential thing that can happen that you would lose confidence in this taking place. For example, when you go into the meditation, you start seeing like flashes of white and you start seeing symbology coming your way. If the lights or the curtains are drawn and the lights on, and you're going to say in your mind, oh, well, that's because that happened, the car drove past. No, we want to eliminate that. We need you to trust and to believe in yourself in this moment. It's also good, right, to eliminate all audio noise disturbances. So maybe it's even listen to this with headphones. If you haven't got headphones, don't worry about it. But just try and do it at a time where you're not going to be disturbed by Norris next door putting out the glass bins, or when the person walks past the house every day at a religious time and the dog's barking. You don't want that to be in the background. Whilst it won't destroy it, it is going to be a little bit more difficult for you. What we're going to do now is we are going to take a deep inhale through our nose. We are going to hold it for 6 seconds. And then we are going to exhale each and every last drop of oxygen from our lungs. You should start to feel everything slowing down in this moment. What I would like you to do now is I would need you to imagine a bubble. This bubble is going to be encompassing the human form, very much like the auric field, and just imagine a big bubble all around you. This is what I'm going to use with the spirit world to lock in each and every person's intent who does this video. It's effectively going to merge into one big bubble, so when we have people who are very new coming into mediumship, I can use all of that intent to help each and every one of you faster and quicker because of everyone's thought, everyone's intent. I know it's a crazy concept, but this is the way the spirit world explain it to us. So this is why I do it on the videos. Imagine a bubble all around you now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call upon the spirit world and the realms to come and work with me in this moment. The words that I'm about to say here are the earliest form of Latin. Do not worry about it. I'm not harvesting souls. I'm not doing it for any other reason then. I have like a thing that I say to help me to get myself into gear, get myself ready to be able to work with spirit to help each and every one of you. And when I'm working with spirit, this is like my green light to them to say, we are go, this is what we need to do now. So I'm going to say something, you just don't need to have any fear to it. I call upon the spirit world and the realms to aid me in this exercise. Veni ad me nunc modo spiritium et regina. What I would like you to say now is to imagine this bubble all around you, and you are going to say after me, I call upon the spirit world and realms to work with me on this exercise. And that's it. If you don't want to say realms, don't say realms. It just helps me to be able to help you. What's happening now is if you think of that bubble around you is now filling with energy, it's your intent, it's your focus. And every other person who watches this video, the spirit world can encapsulate that and bring it to the next person to aid them with their exercise. It's effectively helping everyone a lot more smoother. Now, what we're going to do is, because I've done a little bit of talking there, we are going to take a deep inhale once again. Then we are going to hold it. And then we are going to exhale each and every last drop of oxygen from our lungs. Remembering as we slow down, we have no fear. I'm then going to ask you to imagine a flame. This flame, you should imagine it. If you close your eyes, it's going to be in the forefront of your mind, just here. Think of a candle. I need you to see this candle. This is your intent. I need you to see this flame, and it needs to be steady. If for yourself that flame is flickering, this is the spirit world telling you that there is something wrong. We need to take another breath, and then we need to work on steadying that flame. Breathe out. As we see the flame start to steady, then we are ready to go. Just rinse and repeat the breathing exercise until you see the flame is steady. The spirit world will be working with you. Now that we have the flame steady, what we are going to do is we are going to send out a white, pure, raw light from our mind up into the outer space. And I want you to imagine it being solid and pure in the most brightest white possible to your imagination. Shoot it right out into outer space. We have placed our intent. We have sent out our light to initiate the call. We are now going to be ready to receive from the spirit world. We have no expectations. Now the spirit world has recognized that you have sent out your searching light, that beacon. We are now watching as a gold light merges with the white and intertwines, and as we are waiting, we see that the golden light is spindling down and it enters into our body. We are now connected to the spirit world, my friends. What I would like you to do now for the next 20 seconds, you are going to sit patiently and you are going to welcome everything that comes into your mind after I click my fingers. And that's it. Everything that you learned there, everything that you heard, anything that you felt, anything that you smelt, any of the different sensations, put it down on the paper. That was day 1. I need you to do this for the next 7 days. Watch how every day you will start to feel, you will start to connect, more importantly, with the spirit world. You don't need to do, because I've done the bubble around you at the beginning, when you come into doing this exercise again, you don't need to repeat what I said. You don't need to do any of that. It's already ready for you to go. That was your bubble of intent. That's going to stay with you now. The spirit world can use that anytime. All you need to do now for your next exercise is simply sit in a room, take your breath, and all I want you to do is you are just going to simply go into that meditation. You're not even going to send out your white light. You're not going to do any of that. You are literally just going to take your breath, ready, and when you are ready and you've seen that flame and you know that that flame's lit, then just give the spirit world 20 seconds of your time. Document everything. The second you see that flame is steady, if it's not steady, then the spirit world are showing you there's an issue, it's not going to work. Take a breath again. If you see that flame and it's steady and it's burning bright, as soon as you see that flame and you see it burning, that's the spirit world saying, we're ready. Go straight into it for 20 seconds. Do longer if you wanted to, but it was meant to be keeping it short to try and help each and every one to do it faster. Can do it longer if you want to. Document everything at the end of it. Let me know down in the comment section, right, how it goes for each and every one of you, because it's always lovely to see how each and every one of you get on. Remember, this isn't something that's going to come easy, but by putting effort in, by putting commitment in, it's something that is not just achievable, it's life-changing. If you did enjoy this video, why don't you consider smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos, and make sure that the notification bell is on so you don't miss out on any other videos that we have coming up. Check out the videos pinned at the top left and right, and until the next time, bye-bye for now.